Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions or any entities they represent. This podcast is about dating experiences. It is not to say one dating app is better or worse than another.
It's no accident that sounds like you're leveling up in a video game. 48% of 18 to 29-year-olds have an online dating profile.
Make them work for it.
45% of people say they're more frustrated with this form of dating than hopeful.
There are so many people you can connect with.
Should I swipe right?
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong. Setting the record straight on dating apps. Everyday people telling everyday stories of the swipe right world with your host, Chaos.
Well, I know he had a good time.
As we travel through the world of the upside down, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night, depending on whenever you're listening to the podcast. Welcome to the Swipe Wrong Podcast. I am Chaos. I'm that guy. Welcome to the number one podcast for the passengers on the gravy train. How y'all doing? Hopefully you're all doing great, and hopefully you all put up with all my ums at the end of the last episode. I listened back to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? Holy shit. So sorry about that. We have some more bonus material going for you. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, follow, share, tell a friend. Let everybody know that you're actually listening to something that empathizes with the chaos that you're going through on the day-to-day basis of the dating apps. The last episode I thought was pretty interesting. I think this one is a little bit interesting as well. So, as you know, sit back, relax, put your feet up, enjoy, get some popcorn, get it buttered if you need to, throw some salt on there. If you're in traffic, please be safe. Don't hit that person next to you, and enjoy the White House.
I kind of got stood up for the first time ever. And I think I called you. I was kind of actually scared to meet this guy because he was just going like kind of into sexual stuff. And I said, look, I've agreed to go to dinner with you. I said, but I am not going home with you. Yeah. I'm not, and so then I called you. I was like, oh my God, I'm really nervous because this guy's kind of a big guy. And I feel like he's only after one thing. And I'm like, and I actually invited him to a bar where my friends were.
Oh, so, yeah. Yeah, good. That's solid.
Yeah,
good
because I'm like, and I said, hey, there's a bunch of people I know going here. Why don't we go and, eat there? And I thought that way I feel a little comfort that there's people I know there.
Sure.
And he actually didn't show up. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I had a great night. But
yeah, probably more fun without him showing up, right? But if this is the first time you've had somebody not show up on you, you had a hell of a streak going.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know them. Like, I laugh. The one date wonder over here is like... And I remember calling you and going, oh my God, I so hope they don't show up. I don't know who said that, but I was like, I was like a little panicked because I'm like, I felt like he was really just going in for one thing and one thing only.
I mean, that's a hit and miss too, right? That's like, thank goodness his intentions are made early. So, but at the same time, you're like, I don't even know if I want to waste my time. But truth is you pick the place, you end up, you just pretty much hang out with your friends and have a great night anyway.
Yeah, it worked out because I picked somewhere I felt safe and I knew people would be.
Well, it's, God, that's the biggest thing too. Like once you are out with somebody and you're not safe, like everything's downhill from there.
And that's actually, I think we might have discussed before, but I like to ask when I go on a date, I ask men, I'm like, have you ever worried about your safety? But I've yet to come across one guy on a date who was like, oh my God, I was worried about my safety. Men don't, never. Guys don't sit there and go, oh my God, I hope this woman doesn't attack me or something weird, where I've been on dates and I've been like, oh my gosh, they're going to murder me when I go to my car.
Yeah. And it doesn't cross their minds, but
not at all. Or girls,
maybe it should, because like I guess we'll find something that should, like it'll be. There's enough, like there's like the numbers of everybody who are using the apps are just keep going up and up, and the stories get crazier and crazier.
Yeah, and I feel bad, like when I date the other night for the first time in 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'd offer to pick you up. Would you be comfortable with that? And I said, no, I'd rather meet you there.
That's fair. That's good. That's a good question, though. At least he asked, and like in a good way too.
He did. He kind of got it, and we had a good time. He's a really interesting guy.
Instead of how about I pick you up? Where you almost feel compelled to say yes, or some people might feel compelled to say yes. he asked that in a really good way.
He did. He was trying to be polite and offered, but left the door open till he was okay if I said no.
So when you're texting, and a lot of times you can carry on quite a long text conversation with people. Like, what is it that kind of, like, you're pretty open to go out with people, but like, is there something you're kind of looking for? Match your energy, wit? I mean, what is it that you might be looking for?
I look for a couple things for me personally.
Yeah.
They're like you said, they match. Does their intelligence match mine?
Okay.
Do they have a sort of the same similar job or something? It doesn't matter necessarily to me job wise, but do they have maybe the same work ethic? Does that make better sense?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, just that they're out there trying to hustle and do their best. Do they like their kids, or do they like kids? So, there's such a part of my life that if you're like, oh my gosh, I can't stand kids, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
And then they have some sort of athleticism, and that doesn't mean that they have to be a triathlete or run Ironman or do anything spectacular, but I like to go out and do stuff. So if you want to sit home and be on the couch, we're probably not going to match.
Sure.
Hiking, pickleball, just something to get out and explore the world.
Right.
That's for me. And ironically, it seems kind of hard to find.
It's not easy. Especially as time goes on, it's definitely not easy by any stretch. I mean, just to find the personalities that mesh, that's a hard thing to find in itself.
And it is. And I always say, at this age, we all have baggage.
Sure.
Everybody's got it. I just tell people when they ask me, I'm like, I have baggage. I just keep my Samsonite neatly in the closet in stacks. Like, I'm not planning to bring it out anytime soon.
Right.
Of course it's there. We all, if you're our age and you've been divorced and you have kids, and there's definitely something there. Even if you're in a marriage, there's something there.
Yeah.
It's just
you get to this point, and every one of your relationships, everybody's relationships hopefully have failed. And there's some people on there who are married, so their relationships are in the process of failing, but haven't entirely failed. So it's just, how do I make this next one work for as long as possible? Because chances are it's probably going to fail too.
And even like I said, some of my best friends are married and they have great marriages. Yeah. And like I said, there's points where they fail. It's that they bring it back together. They choose to stay together and work it out.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. Sure. I honestly love to hang out with them the most because you're sitting there and I'm like, this is what it should be.
Yeah.
And I've actually walked up, and one of the wives one time, I walked up and she said, I'm going to fucking kill him. And I looked at her and I said, I'll help you bury the body. And I did the hand signal of call me. And she started laughing and took a little tension out of the area.
Sure.
And at the time I'm thinking, oh yeah, she really wants to, she's redheaded. I'm like, she might kill him. I doubt it, but they have their things, and I've seen them go through it, but they come out the other end by being patient and understanding and knowing that, you can work it out and not necessarily doing the FOMO, that there's something better out there.
Absolutely. Do you know what you got right there, which is even better? I had an interesting question asked to a buddy of mine the other night. It was, do you have somebody in your life that is the role model of what a good relationship looks like? And it sounds like that couple for you is that.
That's one of them. And then one of my other friends that are couples, like, I actually had this conversation today where I was telling a girlfriend of mine, I'm like, they're so great. These men, I'm a little old fashioned, but these men take care of their women. Yeah. Like, she was over the other night visiting, and she's single as well. And one of the husbands was making sure her wine was full.
That's cool.
They really take care. And in return, these women are really good to them.
That's cool.
In whatever fashion that would be, one of them cooks all the time. So it's great. She cooks, her husband works. And, the other one, the wife has the better job because he has a disability, but he does everything around the house.
That's cool.
But they are so good to these women. And I'm like, it's such a great thing to see.
When you
these
don't
are good
lose.
men.
Yeah. When you don't lose, when you don't take each other for granted, that's usually what takes it all.
Right.
Yeah.
You did make me think of a funny story, though.
What's up?
So, you get these guys and you go out, and I gone out with a couple dates with this one guy. And the first time I met him, he seemed very pompous. Okay. Like, the first thing I said is, oh, he seems very, I think, entitled or something, like, ugh. But he talked my friends, and he took me out.
Okay.
So I went out a couple times and I'm like, he randomly call. And I'm like, this dude's just trying to get in my pants. Like, cool. He's smart. He's got a lot of things going for him, but he's never been married and he does not, he's not looking to get married.
Right.
And, but he's real smart. He was an attorney and so forth. And dude would give me the booty calls in the middle of the night. One night he texts me, and actually the only reason I've only let 2 people pick me up at my house, and he was one of them because he was a friend of a friend.
Okay.
So I'm like, he had picked me up, but one night I'm coming home from a volleyball tournament. He's drunk. It's just past midnight. And he said, hey, I wanted to come see you. He's like, what's your address again? Now, the guy's never been in my house.
Yeah, sure.
But this is the text I get in my 50s from a guy who's obviously drunk in the middle of the night. I said, oh, great, you're coming over. I said, it's 1600 Pennsylvania. And he goes, what? I said, just look for it. It's the White House.
Did he get it?
I've never heard from him since.
I wonder if you tried to put it into like Google Maps or something and didn't see anything of 1600 Pennsylvania, and then sobered up and might have realized it.
And if he was sober, I know he would have got it in 5 seconds. But I have a feeling just the way it was coming across, he had been drinking. I had seen him since. I ran into somewhere and he was so drunk. It was crazy. But yeah, it was so funny to me. I was like, oh my God, not this dude again.
He asked for an address and he gets one. I'm sure he was excited. He thought it might have been.
Yeah. And like I said, I was so in shock because like I said, he picked me up once, literally like 6 months prior, never even been in my house. He's like, what's your address again? And I was like, oh yeah, 1600 Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's so
and he
funny.
Goes, what? And I said, just look for the White House.
Just look for the White House. Yeah, you'll see it. It's the only one on the block.
I would have loved to have seen his face, like the wheels spinning. But I don't know if he got it or not. But the next day, I'm sure if he woke up and saw it, he was probably like, what a bitch.
Good for him. I mean, good for him for taking a shot. But then, I'm glad you never heard from him again, though, too.
Yeah, I ran into him drunk one time, but I actually never heard from him again. It stopped the booty calls.
I really feel like this is cyclical. Like, I feel like we could have this conversation every 4 months, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I did have a really good date the other night. It wasn't necessarily like fireworks like New Year's Eve, but he seems like a good guy.
Where'd you meet this one on? What's that?
He was, ironically, it was so funny. Right about New Year's, he had messaged me and he was moving from California here.
Okay.
And he got my number and then he just kind of disappeared. And I think what he was trying to do was get settled. And he got here and said, hey, I'm in town. I'd love to meet up. And I was sick with COVID. And then when I got better, I was going on spring break. So it's kind of been delayed. And he just said, yeah, let me take you out to dinner. And I asked him to pick. He picked a really nice place. He made a reservation, which is unheard of. So then I knew it was nice. So I got to dress up even.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, right. Yeah. Got dressed up and we went out as 50-some-year-old adults and had a really good time.
That's a lot better than, say, the normal, let's meet at the sports bar, go out, hang out.
Right.
It was good conversation, I assume.
Yeah, he's very smart, smart, loves his kids. You could tell by the conversation he enjoys his kids. He's very work-oriented, which is not necessarily my strong point, but it was good to hear,
Yeah.
And I learned something, just kind of how he runs his business and he's smart and how he got where he was going. And it's pretty interesting.
So, was there, I know I think you said you're still trying to figure it out, but was there any romance? Did he kiss or anything like that?
He did. And it was nice. I said, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm running off to Mexico with this one. But it was nice. And he didn't try to really take it any farther than that, which is, good. Very respectful. Because I swear, I think at our age, they would be a little bit more respectful. But some of these guys just right in.
It's a catch-22. It's like you think so, but some of them oh my God, he must be dying because this guy's in a hurry to get everything done as quickly as possible, or her, or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like they don't have the time to wait or something. Got diagnosed with cancer or some shit, so they got to get in as fast as possible.
They got to get in as much sex as they can before they die in the next 24 hours.
Yeah. Before they're I was going to make a bad joke, but yes, as much as possible. It just
brings me to the other point. I think you knew that I had matched with another guy, and we started having conversations, and he kept asking me for send me a picture of you, and then it became send me a picture of you in a bikini.
Oh God.
And then I was on vacation and I kind of had sent a picture of a group of us, but I wasn't in a full bikini because, I mean, it's kind of awkward. Hey, can y'all take a picture of me in a bikini for a guy?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I just don't want to, if I send a picture to every guy in a bikini, I'm not ugly. You know that. I'm far from ugly.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't want to send 10,000 people a picture of me in a bikini either. I'm like...
Right, because you're not sending it to one person, most likely. You send to one kind of, guy, like it's going to end up probably, hey, check out this girl I'm talking to, or something along those lines. Like, this is starting to feel like, to me, like this, send me a picture, or, we've talked about dick pics plenty of times in the past, but this is almost like the deer head mounted on the wall after the kill. It's like the trophy. Oh, I got a picture. Sweet. Okay, so now what? I mean, all right, you got the bikini. Predatory. What's he going to ask for next? Oh, he's going to ask for, a naked picture, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. See how far it can go. It's like, here's the trophies. And
he had asked me out, but at this point, I was out of town and he wasn't asking. He was just asking for pictures. So then it went back to something you and I discussed where you said there's a lot of married men online.
Yeah.
I said, for all I know, just like you said, this guy's just looking to get pictures from girls. Yeah. And he could be married.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could be.
Maybe he's not. I give him the benefit of doubt and say that he's not, but I don't know that.
Yeah.
So the last time he goes, hey, I'm leaving, out of town on my vacation. Why don't you send me a picture in a bikini? And I messaged him back. I said, you seem so nice. You have a lot going for you. I said, but I'm not the girl that's going to send a bikini picture of me on Bumble. If you would like to meet for coffee or a glass of, a drink, I think is what I said, I'd love to meet you. You seem like a really great guy. He unmatched me immediately.
Immediately? Really?
Yeah.
He couldn't.
I looked back like 5 minutes later thinking he might be like, okay, when I get back, let's go for a drink. And then I said, oh my God. And I added, I hope you have a really great time in spring break with your kid, because he was heading out. And within 5 minutes, I think I looked at gone.
Unmatched. God.
Yeah. If I was
he wanted the trophy.
If I was not going to send that bikini pic, he wanted nothing to do with me.
I'm telling you, girl, it's so amazing. And like, that's the unfolding of a lot of this too, is the different personalities and the different madness you're running into.
Yeah, it's definitely, a hit or miss, and it's FOMO. He probably just moved on to some girl he was.
Yeah.
He's the only one I was kind of like, that's a little creepy. Like the other guy, he ran, whatever. He had a lot of good qualities. Sure. I have no idea what that's about, and that's okay.
No,
and most
for
of
sure.
them I feel like are decent guys, but the last one, it was just all about seeing if he could get that pick.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm sure he's got plenty of them. I'm sure plenty of people are more than happy to send them because they don't know.
And he actually unsolicited had sent me a picture in his jeans with his shirt off, and he was ripped. He was a good looking dude.
Yeah.
I thought, you have a kid too and a good job, and you're up there in age. You would think they would want something.
That's the olive branch, right? That's like the initial trade. Here's my picture. Okay, your turn. Your turn.
Well, I didn't ask for it.
No.
I didn't say I was going to send one back. So,
but it's almost like he feels it's owed, just like a lot of people do the same thing in that aspect.
Yeah, well, I don't owe him a shit.
True story.
Yep. So move on. I feel like, that one I was like, oh, well, that's all he was looking for then.
Thank you for being along for the ride of the Swipe Wrong podcast, where we take everyday people like you and me telling their everyday stories of their swipe right life. Show is produced by Jay Pelham. He is the host of Pelham Place. If you want to reach out to the show and tell us your story, we'd love to hear it. Give us a call. Google Voice us at 317-426-6616. Leave your information and we'll get back to you, or just your story. You can also email us at swipewrongpod@gmail.com. We are on Insta, Facebook, TikTok. We're out there. I am Chaos, the host of Chaotic Commentary. You can find me pretty much anywhere that you see me. And next week, the saga continues.
Swipe wrong. Swipe wrong.